Welcome to Out of the Box with Christine. And now, here's the host of the show, Christine Blosdale.
Welcome back to Out of the Box with Christine. I'm your host, Christine Blosdale. I am your expert authority business coach, and I help business owners, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, anyone who wants to get the word out about their business. I help them get the courage up to get it out there in media, be it through podcasting or through book publishing or through TikToks, whatever it is to get the word out. And I'm very excited about having my guests on today because, we all need a coach every now and then. We all need a mentor. And I'm super happy to have my guest here today because she's going to be talking about helping us get through some of those rough patches that we have as business owners and also dealing with our own subconscious stuff that we have, the baggage that we carry with us. My guest is Irene Riad, and she is the founder of SightCET, the Institute of Authentic Leadership Culture. She is an inspirational speaker, a multilingual ICF, PCC, and EMCC executive team. She's going to tell you what all those initials mean, but she is a organizational culture coach, a certified coach supervisor, mentor coach, and coach educator and author. And so I feel like I am at the feet of the master. My coaching goes back to my desire to be a teacher when I was in college, and I wanted to teach young people. And then I saw how much they paid us, Irene, and I said, no, I'm going to do something else. And I did. I did a bunch of other things until I got to become a coach. But I'm super happy that you're here on Out of the Box with Christine. And we're going to uncover how, because you're coming to us not from the US and not from Australia, where I'm at, but Albania.
Yep.
How did you get where? Okay, tell us your story. How did you get to Albania? Because I hear you're an American accent.
Yes. Well, happy to go into that. Culture is extremely valuable to me, and culture has played a big role. And I've been in many cultures, many countries, so can tell you that story of a quick culture tour.
Yeah. So how did you end up in Albania?
Well, thanks for having me, and lovely to be with you on the show and with your audience. My husband is originally Albanian. We're both British, but I'm Egyptian British. He's Albanian British. And that's what got me into moving to Albania 2 years ago. So I'm still settled.
Yes.
It's a bit of fresh.
Yeah. Okay. From Britain, from the UK.
From England. Yeah.
Okay.
From the UK.
Okay. That's going to be a little different. Yes. Okay.
Yes. And the move was partly family and as well business-wise, because I did move my business, which I had set up in the UK, moved it to Albania. And it gets me closer to my audience, which a lot of my clients are actually in the UAE in the Middle East, where I'm really from. I'm originally Egyptian, as I said, but I was born and raised in Saudi Arabia.
Wow. Okay.
Lived there 15 years and UAE 10. And there's a whole history of moving around a bit before being here in Albania.
And your clients, they follow you and they keep up with you. It doesn't matter where you're. Yeah.
Yeah. I found that really where I connect are people who I have lived mostly with, speak the Arabic language, so I can connect my leadership work with the context of business leadership in that region. Slightly different. I mean, there are foundations that are never different anywhere, but then how we kind of coach it made me a bit more sensitive to the emotions, the thoughts, and how people could create beliefs around things and work with that, because it's part of our coaching process as well.
And because really as a coach's coach, working with people, do you find that there is a great difference based on the culture that someone is in? Yeah.
There is always something. And when I work with a coach, it's helping the coach realize the system outside of them as well as inside of them. So what's happening inside of them? Where does it come from? Usually from parents who may have different cultures as well. So it's coming from different cultures, but realizing there's a system of inner thoughts. And that's why even culture, I see it as an inner culture, is really what sprouts and allows us to see things from different perspective. And then we're dealing with different cultures outside of us. So how do we connect all of that? How do we see it first and then start to understand?
And so much of that is in our in our upbringing, isn't it? When we're little kids, what we expect of ourselves and who we will become. A lot of times it's based in those first formative years, first 7 years or something like that. That's really vital and very important for children, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think then there's a lot of science around the first 7 years being the most important in the child development. And that's actually one of the reasons that encouraged us to move to Albania. I have a 5-year-old who at the time, so before that, it was like, 3-year-old, as we were thinking, like, in what environment, really? So in Albania, there's a lot more outdoors. There's a lot more relationship focus. Family, of course, makes a difference. We didn't have much in the UK. So all these parameters shape us. Yeah.
And it's very important. A lot of the work that you do is working with individuals who've had setbacks, who've had maybe there's obstacles that are, in their, again, a lot of times it's in the subconscious, because consciously they're like, of course I want to, have a thriving business, and I want to help people, and I want to be successful. But then there's maybe it's those things that happened when they were younger, or the society that they grew up in is, saying that you can't do this, you can't do that. Do you work with clients by sort of clearing those things, or at least recognizing what those things are, so that they can become a better coach, but also maybe a happier human being?
Absolutely. So I am certified by the International Association of Trauma Recovery in the US. Wow. So I'm a trauma recovery coach, and I don't generally use it to do any trauma treatment, because that's not my role. I'm not a therapist. I purely use it from the coaching perspective, which is when we reach those roadblocks in helping a leader or a coach expand their business, which may require them to step out into doing things that threaten them, they feel that they're threatened. They have strong anger, fear around it, even pain. And so when we are held back for any reason, there's an opportunity there to use that with curiosity. And when I do the work with my coaches or leaders, I actually don't see setbacks personally as a bad thing. Yes, when they happened, of course, we don't wish them on us when something has. And sometimes we don't even recognize that they're bad, and they were not bad. In society, we like to label things all the time.
Yes. Yeah.
But actually, what happened as we grew up was required for us. So we responded in a way that saved us. Whatever setback, horrible ones, and there are ones that just society may have limited us because of XYZ belief. But all of these give us an opportunity when I work with the coach or the leader, and some setback or something has been limiting them for a long time. It's an opportunity to use that to really understand oneself. Compassion, curiosity are really the stepping stones. And once something is understood and accepted, because I think understanding, having insight is step one. Acceptance takes longer.
Yeah.
Accepting. Yeah.
I really appreciate what you're saying with that, and how those things shape us. I feel that I have developed throughout my lifetime, with all the stuff, all the ups and the downs and all the in-betweens, to really be the kind of person who feels empathy for people, but also who can relate to people, right? And so knowing that's there because I've been there, right? I've been on that other side, is something I think that's very helpful. And when people go to coaches to consult to people to help them in whatever way, a lot of times there's that thing of, well, this person must be perfect. They've got it all together. And I'm here to say, I don't know about you, Irene, I don't have it all together. I know what works. And I'm also at an age. This is another thing. You see, in your 20s, I find that you're trying to kind of, be that thing that society tells you to be, and then your 30s, it's a different thing. In your 40s, I'm almost 60. I'll be 60 in November, and at this age, I'm like, I know what I like and I know what I don't like. Right? I know what gives me that passion juice that makes me feel really good, and then those things that make me feel a little icky, and I stay away from the things that make me feel icky. But that's something that happens as you mature, right? But I'm here to tell you, yeah, we're all learning. And isn't it a wonderful experience that we're all learning each day?
Absolutely. And for me to do this work, I'm very much in touch with what holds me back. I'm not in denial of it. I'm very connected to my pain, but I don't allow it to make me go into suffering. So even pain is sometimes labeled as bad. Yes, it's not a nice feeling. It's very intense and difficult. If we train ourselves to look at what's the silver lining here? What am I to learn from this? And it takes practice, because usually when the pain is raw, we obviously cannot go there. And I couldn't as well. And I empathize when it's raw and there are things just, we can't, there's no resolution to it. It's not about trying to fix anything. It happened. It's there and it's still there. Yeah. The question then becomes, when you spoke about, you spoke a bit like about identity, like you really getting to know who you are. And it takes time to be able to distance ourselves from that setback pain, to allow it to evolve, is a word, maybe because we're not in the world, in the coaching, we're not healing anything. I actually don't see we need to heal anything. You are whole, even with a pain or setback, you are fully whole. And I hold everybody I work with as whole. There's nothing wrong with them. There's nothing that needs fixing. Even with my own pain and struggle, there's nothing. You are whole. And then if I'm able to transfer this with the people I work with, and they're able to accept it, we can look at pain, struggle, limitations, things we're frustrated with, from a more evolving state. So this is someone who had pain at some point. I did not know what I did not know. There's no fault for me. It happened to me. Right. So all this, there was a whole maturity of somebody who's in their 20s, who's in their 15s. Now, from where I am, how do I wish to move forward? Am I willing to take power of how I want to move forward? Because it does require we own up to having more power than the ego, or than, our thoughts that held us back want us to know.
Right. And it requires action.
Action is the ingredient to get us out. And it doesn't matter if it's the right action, just take action.
Take an action, because if you're just sitting in the basement hoping somebody discovers you, it's not going to, I was talking to a friend of mine who's a coach. She uses human design, right, to talk about people's, where they're at. And it's very complicated, but it's actually kind of makes sense when I actually look at it. It's like, yeah. And I think my human design characteristic is that of projector, which means we have to wait to be invited. Well, I hate that, because I'm like, what? Wait a second. No, people are not going to I have to at least let people know who I am and what I can do, so that then they can invite me in. But it can be a bit frustrating. I do think, though, you're right. It's that as you get further away from that trauma, from that setback, you're able to look at it also with compassion, because when you're in it, you're in survival mode or you're in crisis mode, and you're not able to have that compassion for yourself, right? You beat yourself up. I must have deserved it, or, whatever we say to ourselves. But as you get older and as you get further away, you're able to have that bit of compassion. And when you have that compassion, then I'm thinking, Irene, you can pick out what the lessons are. Does that make sense?
Yes, compassion, absolutely. Compassion is an ingredient that allows you to be your best friend. And I think we forget that we need that on the inside as well. We often are able to be the best friend for others who are in that same situation of difficulty.
Yeah.
Somehow that is easier because we are our own worst critics. And that's coming again, not from anybody's fault, but no parent or society. It's just how life is in how it's just progressing. So when we are able to distance ourselves, we see actually the pain as more of an object. It's outside of us versus it's me. So the identity piece starts to also become so important for us to recognize I am not that pain. I am not what
I'm not
happened
that
to it.
story.
Yeah, the story. It's also extremely important. How we start to talk to ourselves and tell the story of even how I'm growing out of that pain, or I'm now a totally different person who's learning from that pain or setback.
That self-talk that we have is really critical, isn't it? I
Yes.
I'll catch myself sometimes, and I'm and I'm helping people, I'm helping people with that. But
Human.
yeah,
It's human.
every now and then you go, oh my goodness, I can't believe I just said that about myself, or I thought that about myself. That self-talk, how do you guide your clients through dealing with that? And the self-talk that's not that you got it, Tiger, you're a champ, that other self-talk that's not so positive.
Yes. The process I help my coaches or leaders is one of the very first step is recognizing the voice, recognizing every voice in your mind. And it takes practice because initially, before we're able to recognize it, we have a little bit of how was the voice of your mother? What did it sound like, feel like? Father, same thing. Peers or friends. So when a voice comes, like let's say I want to go to the gym and I hear the voice, I'm tired. So
Yeah.
I hear it a lot.
You have that voice too. Yeah.
So that's the example because it's fresh. It's like trying to do something and something just says, I'm tired. So listen to the voice. We're not saying object to it, but listen to the voice and pay attention how that voice feels in the body.
Mm.
Where is it coming from? Do you really have a pain in the body? I mean, does the body really need rest? Because that could be the case. But if it's not, if the voice is in the head, there's no sense of it somewhere else. Be curious. What's the reason? And start dialoguing. There's practice called voice dialogue. Dialogue with the voice. Have a little chat. You're not crazy. You need to have a little bit. So what makes me, am I really tired? Is that the feeling of tired or something else? And so when you're recognizing the voice, kind of try and set it slightly outside of you. Recognize you are not that voice. And then the question is, if I did not have that voice, what's my intention for me, for my ideal self? Like if I want to be proud of myself, what's my intention? Is to go to the gym or, read a book or whatever it is that you want it to do, or call a friend and something just slightly making you resistant. It's here at that, let's say that fork. Let's say it's either going to go this way or you're going to go the other way. And that's where your agency, reminding yourself that there needs to be some effort and intention, because that's what we call inner work. A little bit of work. You need to become alert. Use that alertness. Now that you've realized there's a voice, I've connected with my body, so I kind of understand that voice is not really asking me for the best of my benefit. It's asking me to rest. It's safety, security, fear-based. And the other real me is the ideal me. And usually that other voice who's asking me to, make that call, go for that run. Usually it is soft. It's compassionate. It loves you. It wants what's good for you.
Right.
And you've got to decide with agency. Agency is like, have your power, take your power, and you'll not regret it.
And it's having that initial curiosity. I love because I asked you before you came on the show, I asked you what your greatest superpower was. And you said, I love this, calm curiosity.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Well, isn't that what we need more of as well? Instead of, reacting to things, right? We tend to, as human beings, react. There's something that happens and we got to react to it, without thinking. A lot of times and then it's that spiral that we, go down the drain, so to speak. But I love that calm curiosity, because with that, it also, there's a gentleness about that. And there is a caring about that. I don't even know if I'm using the right words, but
you are. I think you're describing.
That's what I'm getting. The feeling that I'm getting from that is that it's kind, it's gentle. It's something that it's something that a mother would feel for their child. Right? That calm curiosity, like, oh, why did you take the poop and put it on the wall like that? That's just so adorable.
Same with calm curiosity.
Calm curiosity.
It took practice from me, because I initially, to get myself even out of my struggles and I still do, but now I realize that instead of doing it with a critical curiosity, a blame curiosity, a push shove, which maybe I needed initially to get out of that, really not doing anything is a little bit of ambition. But I find that when I bring in my own kindness for myself, again, being a friend curious person, that calmness allows me to be still a little bit. So I'm not in a curious loop, analysis paralysis. I realize that my curiosity is getting out of hand. So it does require a bit of pause and a bit of compassion, because I've also, through reading a lot around trauma recovery, we only are able to, do the work of change when we feel safe, accepted, and we have something that excites us. If I don't bring in calm in how I do the work, even with myself, there will always be a bigger voice of fear, a bigger voice of anxiety.
And that, as a coach, is the death knell. And it's a challenge. It could be, it is, but you can smell it, you can taste it. So somebody can have all the greatest, things on their website and all this stuff that they've accomplished, but then when you're with them, you feel that bit of, there's an anxiety, there's stuff. It's almost like there's all this stuff that's behind that person, and it's really hard to dial into it and to go, yes, I can trust you with my
life,
with my life, with my work, with my business, all of that. And so it is really important as coaches and consultants. It's really important that we do get this stuff straight. And I just love the way that you frame it. One thing you said too was this, and this I see in so many clients, it's a bit of the analysis paralysis, but also the spinning of too many plates, right? Yes. The spinning of, I got to do this, I have to do that, I need to take this class, I need to read this book, I need to watch this video, I need to get this credential. And what happens is that the overwhelm of trying to do all of that takes away the joy, it just sucks it right out of the room. And then we find people are just stuck. They're not happy. They're just, they don't know what to do. They don't know what to do next. So how do you help your clients through that analysis paralysis, or the spinning of the plates?
So if it is about, so understanding the context and finding the fear is where I find that people who take a lot of courses and are in one thing, then out of another, and in one thing, and they're in that cycle, oftentimes is understanding the fear of not knowing enough, Or is it the fear of, well, if I take action, that means I'm going to be visible? Or the fear of,
Right.
oh gosh, if I say I'm the expert and I speak about my topic, then I could be judged. So what they're doing is a safety mechanism unconsciously.
Yes. Yeah.
Something subconsciously is asking them to do a little bit more study, think a little bit more. You haven't had the right decision yet. You're not ready yet. Whatever the message.
Yeah.
So realizing it's a safety mechanism that's holding them back from their greatness, from their success, from crossing the edge that they're trying to cross. So when we come to that, and if we pin kind of a little bit, what is that message protecting you from? We go and I do an integration process. So again, I use the body because there's a feeling in the body that is frightened from whatever threat that it's being protected. Let's say, just launching the business, launching the project, launching whatever.
Yep.
The fear of being known, or some people's success, they have, I call it the shadow that is there is light. The fear could be that fear of being known and being visible is to help people to put the message is actually fear of their own light, fear of their own success.
Wow. Yeah.
And that could come from, we could see where that came from. It doesn't really matter where it came from, but then understanding the fear is now reframed to a little bit of excitement, perhaps. Yes, there's risk, but gaining confidence that you're the purpose. What's the purpose of you sharing the message, coming to light, people getting to know you? Let that grow, nurture that. Stay true to yourself. Do as much as you can. Do it. And you don't need to, go big bang. Do the small bits. Take one step.
Yeah.
Because I usually talk from experience. I'm not a big bang kind of, I try a big visions, but I take small steps. And it's that who I'm helping, who I'm hoping to reach, to support and serve, that soothes all this, little fear of rejection or criticism, because there's nothing wrong with that fear. It's just don't let it overpower the dream.
You just nailed when I have clients that have that imposter syndrome, negative self-perception, and they really need to, whatever it is, they're an amazing XYZ, whatever they are. They're incredible. But their fear of being, to being, having a podcast or being on camera, their fear of, who am I to help to say this or that imposter syndrome is very debilitating. And what I always tell them, I say, quit focusing on you. And it's hard when you're looking at a camera and you're looking and you're looking at what you look like. Oh, I'm wearing this. I've got these glasses. I've got this color hair. I've got a tattoo here, whatever. So we tend to just look at ourselves and think that everybody's going to judge that visual, right? And what I say is focus on the audience, focus on your clients, focus on the people. So if you want to help kids have self-esteem and you want to help, build up their self-esteem and their character, get out of your own way, because by you not showing up, you're not allowing them to grow and to experience all the stuff that you want to share with them. And so when we take the focus away from us and how we look and what people are going to judge us on, and we focus on the people that we're serving, it's all of a sudden you'll see in their eyes, they go, oh, well, that's much better. Well, that feels better. So I go, just focus on them. If it's your patients, your clients, your customers, focus on them and not yourself. So you just summed it up perfectly. Oh, Irene. Okay. Well, we could talk forever. How do people, because I'm in my head, I'm hearing people going, I dig this lady. I want to talk to her. How do people get in touch with you? Is it through your website, or do you have a special bat signal?
That website is absolutely perfect, because on the website, there's also 2 gifts that they could delve into if they love this kind of work. There's a free Jungian questionnaires. Carl Jung is the psychologist from where I take a lot of the work, and it's a 3-minute questionnaire to help them start to get some a peak insight as to what limits them, what could be in their shadow.
Great.
And what could be their persona. And then there's an ebook that goes deeper that they could download. And there's my contacts there, because I offer, if you are that interested, I love to talk to people who want to go deeper. So there's a 30-minute free connection where we can go delve deeper into your report, because you get an immediate report from the questionnaire. And if you're reading the ebook, so the website is fine. And LinkedIn, I'm very much more on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Irene Riad there with my name, and please feel free to get in touch.
You haven't jumped into the TikToks yet?
Not yet.
Okay, well, we'll get you there. We'll get you there. The algorithm is
Instagram. I'm on Instagram.
The algorithm is crazy in TikTok, so you'll find your tribe. You will. I encourage you to step out of that uncomfortable box and try that TikTok. So the website, so everybody you can go to, and we'll have a link in the show notes. It's SightCET.com, and it's SIGHTCET.com, but don't worry about the spelling. If you just want to check the show notes, there'll be a link, the clickable link. And so you can get, a very valuable, because time is of value, I believe. And 30-minute session with Irene is priceless. And you can gain so much of that. I mean, we just spoke a little over 30 minutes and I just feel so much better myself. So I encourage everybody, I encourage you to go to the website and also take her up on her offer for that persona shadow assessment as well. That's a great way. And we need to, if we do want to go out and help, what is that when you go on an airplane and they say, when the oxygen mask comes down, put the oxygen mask on you before you put it on your kid, which is counterintuitive because you're thinking my kid needs it. No, you need it. You need that oxygen mask. So this is a perfect message for today. So thank you again, Irene, so much for joining me on the show. I really had a blast.
Thank you so much, Christine. It was wonderful. Appreciate it.
And thank you, wonderful listeners who listen through Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, Audible. Thank you so much. Make sure you share this with somebody. If you really got something out of it, you think others can get something out of it, share this on your social media if you like. It's easy to do. But also, if you'd like to see my wonderful guest, you can check us out on YouTube. It's been a long running show. It's been like 8 years. And so there's episodes galore. You can go back in the archives and see all the great shows, and make sure you subscribe, because then you won't miss an episode when it comes out. And if you want more information about me and all my coaching stuff and the books I've done, you can go to ChristineBlosdale.com. There'll be a link in the show notes for that. And I have a new podcast that I am creating. I know I've teased this in the past, and I just couldn't get my head around something that was so juicy enough that I could be really passionate about it. And I have nailed it, and I am working on it right now. I won't say the name of it yet because it's still in the development phase. In other words, I'm doing all the interviews and stuff and getting ready to launch it, but it's going to be really good. And I'll mention it when it's out, when it's published and all that good stuff. But I am working on that. So keep creating, keep doing your thing, and keep reaching out with your wisdom, because you never know who's listening. You never know who's watching, and you never know whose life and business you can change and you can help. And that's why we're coaches, Irene. That's what we do. That's what we do. All right, love. Thank you so much. And as I always remind my audience, remember to think outside that damn box. Bye for now.